In this video, we'll be adding the live preview functionality to our Webiny Headless CMS. The live preview feature allows you to have a real-time preview of your website as you're building your content inside the Headless CMS. The benefit is that you don't need to have a separate tab or constantly hit the refresh button to see your changes. It's a much more user-friendly way of seeing the page you're creating. Now, there are two main components to the live preview feature. The first one is adding the side panel inside your entry form that will display the live preview page. And the second part is that front-end application that actually renders your page. The cool thing is that for the front-end application, you can use any technology you want, even any JavaScript framework you want. It's not tied to Webiny stack in any way. Now, Webiny comes with a pre-built extension you can use to kickstart the implementation of the live preview functionality. That same extension has a demo front-end application, which helps you get the gist of how the implementation works, so you can easily bring your own front-end. There are a few things we're going to use to help us get started with the live preview. First of all, we have a guide called Content Entry Live Preview under the Headless CMS extensions. And in this guide, we basically are explaining the gist of how this extension works and what is its goal and how to set it up. Right, and I'm going to use this guide as a reference, as well as the actual README file from the extension we're going to be installing. The extension is available as all other extensions under the Webiny examples repository. And then we have the CMS Live Preview 540 README. All right, so we're going to get started with, first of all, installing the extension. So we need this command. And in our terminal, we again need to make sure we're not running any watch commands. We're going to install that extension. Once the extension is installed, we will see two new folders being created for us under the extensions folder, and those are the admin and the website, as noted here as well. We're going to dive deeper into those in just a few minutes. Now, this is one part of setting up this extension. As part of this demo, we're also going to use a content model that has couple of fields and a couple of dynamic zones in it and so on. So to help us get started with this pre-built content model, we're going to show you another way how you can actually share your content models. So we showed you the way how you can define content models through code, but in this example here, we actually exported a content model, and now we're going to use that export file and we're going to import that content model into our project. So if you click here on the exported content model, we'll see that this is the actual content model definition. What we can do is download this file, and there we go. And then after that, we're going to navigate to our Headless CMS. And here you see you have the ability to export a content model as well as import. So we're going to click the import option, and we're going to drag the file that we downloaded. It's going to go through a validation, and we will say, yes, we want to import this one, and we'll press the import button, and there we go. Now the page is going to reload, and we should see our new content model. So this content model that we just imported, called articles, is the content model to which we're going to attach the live preview functionality. Because this content model has been imported, it's stored in the Webiny's database. We can actually edit that content model, see how it looks like. We can change things around as with any other content model. Here, if we go under the preview, we see we have a title, description, slug, and this bit here that represents our content, which is a dynamic zone. And inside that dynamic zone, we have a few templates. One is hero, we have a 3-grid box, we have a banner, text and image block, and a rich text field. So we got a couple of pre-built fields. Again, if you go under the edit, we can see what fields we have under each of these dynamic zones. The point is why we're using a dynamic zone to build the content is because we want to give the content editors the freedom to arrange the content in any way they want. So if you click add template, so they can insert a hero, and then after a hero they can add a 3 grid box. If they want another one, they can do another one, and then let's say they want to do a banner in between, and let's say we want to move the banner between the 3 boxes. So this way they're kind of like building these block sections of the page, and then the point of the front-end application is to take the content field, follow this order, and then just have individual components render these blocks one after each other, which essentially will then create your page. All right, so we've now installed the extension, we've imported our content model. After this, what we need to do is run the watch command on the admin app and also run the watch command on the website. Now, just to show you, if I were to go here under the articles before running the watch command, click the new article, so I just get this basic form, right? I don't see the live preview. So let's now move to our terminal and let's run yarn webany watch admin env dev. Okay, we're now on localhost, our watch is running. So if we go here, we'll still see the article content model, but if we now go to the new article, we'll see this panel, which is the live preview panel. You'll notice that the website is not yet rendering in the panel, and that's because it's trying to use localhost 3000 to open our front-end application. Now, before we can actually start our front-end application, we need to make a few adjustments to it. If we go back to the examples folder, under step 2, it says that we need to configure the website tab by adding a few styles to our index.html. Purely this is needed because the demo website application that we provide requires some styles for the live preview. When you use your own front-end application, this is of course not needed. But let's now go and copy those styles, and we're going to go back to our editor. So those styles go in the apps website public index.html, and we're going to paste them there. That's one part. And the other part is that we need to add these 2 lines to our apps tsx file inside the same website application. So we need to add this import. Let's open the file. We need to add this import, and we need to add just this parameter here. Essentially, to give you a bit of context here, so Webany ships with this website application by default. This website application is used to render page builder pages. All right, it's not used to render the live preview. Now, since we already have that front-end application, what we're doing to add the live preview capabilities to it is we're registering a special route inside the website application, and that route is going to be used to render the live preview pages. All right. So, and this is what we're doing here with those 2 lines. Once we did that, now we still have our admin app watch command running, but in the other window, we're going to run yarn webany watch website. The same. I'm just going to use the dev environment. So let's start the website watch. All right, now we have the website watch command running, and you'll see that our browser opened to localhost 3000, and it opened a page from actually Page Builder. We can ignore this for now, and we can go back to our admin. If we just go right click reload frame, we'll see that now the error has disappeared, and we can now start building our content and see it instantly show in the left panel. So this is our demo. You see that it shows instantly. There's no need to reload or anything. It has some pre-built styles in there. And now if we use the content block, so let's add a hero banner. Let's open it. See, we're building those components. And they show up. Let's pick an image. And see that the image has rounded corners, some shadow to it. Also styles are applied here. We also have a button. And we can add to, this is the hero. Let's now add a, let's say a rich text field. All right. And again, we can copy a bunch of these. We can underline, we can bold, we can add links and all of that. It's going to show up there. We can also add, let's add a banner. Let's pick the same image. So you can see essentially what we have here is the structure of our page, where our content editors, they just fill out the pre-built fields that are required to render that particular block. But they can still control what goes into the block. They can control the order of the block. So if you want the title, then some text, then a hero, then a banner, we can change the order and so on. So the point here is that your front-end application essentially has a set of pre-built components that you would map to your dynamic zones and create as many dynamic zones as you want in here. And then your content editors would just use that to build their content. And as they build it, they will instantly see the live preview here on the left-hand side. Again, the front-end technology you use to render this page can be completely separate from Webany. You can use whatever JavaScript framework, whatever styles you want. They won't clash with Webany's and so on. Right. Let's go back to our editor to examine the code that our extension installed. All right, so we're going to close these two. Again, there's two parts to this extension, the admin app and the website app. Let's have a look at the admin app. All right, so there's a couple of things here that we're gonna dive a bit more into. First, there's the add preview pane. If you remember in the previous tutorial where we were changing the layout of the form, adding tabs and moving fields into different tabs. So this is a similar approach here, where we basically are examining, are we rendering the edit form for a particular content model? If that content model name, that is the content model ID, is not article, so which is the content model to which we want to attach the preview pane into. So if it's not article, we just return the original form, so unmodified. But if it is article, then we are implementing split view, which is nothing but just a flex layout. And in there, we are introducing our preview pane, which is the component that renders the preview. And on the one side and on the other side, we're actually showing the form. And this is basically all it is, how we're modifying that interface. One side, the preview panel, the other side, the form. Let's now look at the preview pane. So let's open it. And that pane is basically just that left-hand side where on the top you have the address bar and you have the reload preview button. If you go back to our form, this is the address bar and this is the reload button. This gives you full control over this UI element. You can technically hide it so your users don't need to touch it at all. You can add additional buttons here. Let's say, hey, view this panel, view the page as a logged in user, as a non-logged in user. You can do different kinds of things. Here, you're in full control. And the second part of the preview pane is the iframe and the circular progress, which only shows while we are loading our front-end application. Otherwise, we just have an iframe that is rendering the page through which we're passing the preview URL. If you look at the preview URL, it's essentially passed as a prop to the preview pane. So this is the file that includes the preview pane and passes that, and it gets the preview URL from the get preview URL file. And this is the part where you probably wanna modify, right? Here we are pointing the preview URL to our website application that comes with Webany, and when you run the watch, it runs on port 3000. But in your own, like in general practice, you would have a preview front-end application running on a web server somewhere or on a Lambda function, and you would point that to that application, and essentially you would use that application to then render your front end. So this is one of the parts of this implementation you most likely would want to modify to fit your needs. Let's now examine how the communication between the edit form and the preview pane looks like. Let's close these files, and we're going to go to the live preview editor. So this is a simple component which first of all gets our live preview element, which is an access its window. Now, what all this does is whenever we make a change or to the edit form, so we're changing content, building content, removing content, so on, we want to update the live preview, right? And the other action that this does is whenever you load the edit form, so the first time you open an entry, it also loads the live preview. All right, so there's nothing much here, right? So we're attaching these events to our use content entry form. There's the hook use decorator through which we add those events to the entry form. Most of this logic is actually contained within the use live preview component. So if we open that one, which is the last file basically inside the admin extension, here we're doing a couple of things. First of all, the method by which we're passing the data between our admin app and the live preview app relies on the window post message API. Now, this is an API that is supported in all modern browsers, and it allows us to get that low latency as we are changing the content, and we see it immediately shown on the screen without needing to reload the iframe and so on. So we're basically passing on the messages and we're passing on the content using this API, so that our live preview application actually gets the content of the page through that API and renders it without, again, needing to reload. Now, one caveat here is that whenever you're using this API, regardless of the fact that you're just firing on one message, you will see on the other side that's receiving those messages quite a lot of events being fired. The reason for that is if you're running a watch command, Webpack might be firing a bunch of events, React's live preview might be firing a bunch of events. Even if you open your browser's dev tools, they will also be firing quite a lot of events. So the way we go around the fact that we only want to listen to specific events is that we prefix those events with a specific prefix, and that we only on the other side listen to then the events with this prefix. This way we are actually just filtering the noise. And the whole data that we are transferring is in this package here. So this is the CMS content entry data. So essentially this contains all the fields and all of its the field data inside this one attribute. So we're passing that in that post message payload to our front-end application, which on the other side receives that package, opens it, and renders the page. So let's have a look at that part now. If you look at the index file, here we have our custom route that we mentioned before, which we're attaching to our website application. So under this route, we're going to be doing actually our live preview logic. And under that route, we just mount a specific React component. So if we open that component, all it does is use the live preview component and returns the article. So if you look at the article here, we'll find our blocks, banner block, hero block, as well as helper functions is banner, is hero, is reached. In essence, all we do is we loop over the dynamic zone, which has the name of content in our content model, and check, hey, are we rendering a rich text? Are we rendering, I don't know, a hero? And then we just pass on the block's content into that specific React component. So if you open the block, it's just CSS, HTML that then takes the properties from the block and displays them in side appropriate elements. So if we were to say add a new block to our page, so let's go to the article content model. So let's say you want to add a new dynamic block here, call it dummy block. And our block has a title, let's say, and let's say it has an image. All right. So what we would do is we take this name, dummy block, and here we would create a new file, dummy block tsx, which would pretty much be a copy paste. We would just, of course, adopt the visual styles of it, and what we would do is include it here as an export, and lastly we would just add another if clause here. And that's it. So this way we could build a whole library of these blocks and allow our content editors not to fiddle with the technical part of the system, but still have a really nice way to express their creativity while they're creating their content. I hope you enjoyed this overview of the live preview functionality. I encourage you to explore more and see how you can connect this with your own front-end application. And as always, if you need any assistance, just reach out to us via Slack. Our team is always there to help you out and provide guidance.